The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Nashville District is partnering with schools to encourage kids to stay engaged in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The Corps of Engineers has also taken an interest in teachers and sponsoring them this summer in an externship program where they are developing project-based learning curriculum. Teachers from Cane Ridge High School, Big Picture High School, and Stratford STEM Magnet High School are using externships with the Nashville District to create class projects that will challenge students and encourage them to investigate, explore, experiment, problem solve, create, and invent. The teachers learned about core missions and received technical briefings on scientific and engineering processes. They also visited dams, lakes, and construction sites and interacted with subject matter experts.
Some students learn by doing things, and project-based learning, the way that you construct them, tends to incorporate all those different learning styles. And experience is a great teacher. It's different when I stand up and talk about soil erosion or hydroelectric power than it is when you actually come and experience it and see it.
Cane Ridge High School teachers received briefings at the Mid-Cumberland Construction Office at Jpercy Lake, June 5. The next day, they donned safety vests and hard hats at Cheatham Dam, where the Corps is constructing a new lock operations building and resource manager's office that were destroyed during the May 2010 flood.
The Corps has been very responsive. They've been great people to work with, giving us tons of information, almost too much information to try to narrow it down. So there'll probably be several projects to come out of this tour.
The project engineer at the Cheatham construction sites said the Corps externships with teachers is a win for the students.
It makes it better because the teacher can take this experience and give that to the student and give them some on-hand information as far as construction. It's a little bit more than just looking at a book. It's actual experience being on the site and seeing the work being completed.
The history teacher at Cane Ridge High School not only looked at the construction areas, but also watched several barges navigate through Cheatham Lock and saw a contractor putting riprap on the shoreline to stabilize the stream bank. The experience gave him ideas on how to incorporate what he learned for a history lesson.
The Army Corps of Engineers, the role that they play in the world and in our nation is so broad. It's narrowing that down so that we can show students the real world application, so we could bring out the 21st century skills that students need, the problem solving, the critical thinking, the collaboration, and just tying all that into an interactive lesson where students again can see that real world application.
Teachers from Big Picture High School visited an environmental demonstration area on Old Hickory Lake June 12, and the next day visited Old Hickory Dam, Lock, and Power Plant to learn how the Corps produces hydropower and how commercial and recreational boaters move up and down the Cumberland River. They also saw an erosion control demonstration area at Walton Ferry and traveled by boat to see where water runoff and wave action is causing erosion on a portion of the shoreline. Shoreline stabilization was a point of interest for the teachers, who will prepare a lesson based on what they learned during the externship.
I hope to use this project that we are working on right now to educate kids about problems with soil erosions and the impact it has on the impact that humans have on the different problems and how it affects our environment.
Teachers at Stratford STEM Magnet High School started their externship at the Nashville District Headquarters June 17 and received briefings from the commander and water management experts. They learned about the organization, its operations, its history, and a lot about water quality.
The Flood Control Act of 1938 authorized the Corps of Engineers to investigate 6 reservoir sites along Cumberland tributaries. In 1945, we proposed to Congress to create a series of projects that would establish a 9-foot minimum channel depth. And so in order to do that, we had to build the modern locks and dams.
The teachers took lots of notes and then traveled the next day to Jpercy Lake to hop on a survey boat and learn about water sampling. The entire team learned how to retrieve water at different depths using a Kemmerer water sampler. After spending the morning on the lake, the English teacher talked about how all of the subjects get included with project-based learning.
I learned how to take samples for the different things in the water to help us maintain a nice lake. Experience helps me have ideas in my head about what I want the students to take away from whatever lessons that we have. You know, anything to spark a love for writing, that would be what I would imagine would be something meaningful as an English teacher, because we want them to be able to write.
Nashville education officials say in 2 years, STEM students have raised their ACT scores by an entire point, and the externship programs are only going to improve the coursework that prepares kids for the future.
And we're using what's called the project-based learning, which is 8 components based on rigorous standards to a student voice and choice to a public audience to display or evaluate their work. That is truly changing the way teachers plan and the way they deliver curriculum.
The Middle Tennessee STEM Innovation Hub helps to connect community partners with industries to mentor students and to host teacher externships to give them the experience and exposure to processes that ultimately facilitates applied learning.
We want to get kids excited and engaged, and then we really want to take that interest in STEM and train teachers so that the lessons that the students get that are related to STEM are relevant to their lives and rigorous so that we have them achieving at higher levels. So it's a kind of a multi-purpose job description, but it really involves bringing together a network of support for students and teachers in our public schools and, quite frankly, in our private schools too. It's about finding innovative new ways of teaching and learning, new ways of preparing teachers, new ways of exposing students to careers, college, so that they, again, think differently about their future.
The Corps of Engineers manages some of the most complex science and engineering projects in the world, and officials recognize the need to help grow the STEM experts of the future.
Those lessons plans that they're going to create, they're going to share that with the STEM Hub, and then the STEM Hub will take these lesson plans and distribute them out to all their region's educators, so that not only the folks who shadow our professionals, not only will they benefit from it, but the whole region as well.
This is Lee Roberts reporting for the Nashville District in Nashville, Tennessee.